Hey YouTube, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. New toys. Recently Injora released a new brushless ESC motor set for microcrawlers. The MBL32 brushless ESC and this purple Viper motor, 1621 motor with 3600 kV. And the first set that has been released is the set for the Traxxas TRX-4M. And recently, a few days ago, the same set has been released for the Axial SCX24. So only differing in mounting accessories and pinion probably. That's an AM32 ESC which can be programmed, but it should be ready to go with the TRX-4M, and I will not program it in this video. I have another AM32 brushless ESC for microcrawlers coming soon from Banggood, and then I will go into programming. This set looks awesome, but what's a little bit strange, big box, metal for heat dissipation probably, and a lot of wires, and unfortunately an on-off switch too, where you can switch the BEC voltage from 6 to 7.4 volts additionally. So that's hard not to use because it has 4 wires and you'll probably need it for the BEC voltage selection. But all this bunch of wires and the ESC does come with a XT30 plug. I love those, but not for my microcrawlers. I use it in 1/16 and 1/12 crawlers and in my small helicopters. But nobody probably uses those in microcrawlers, and therefore we get a lot of accessories. A bunch of adapters where you can, and also cable ties where you can then use battery with JST-PH plugs, SCX24, and DINs or T plugs, which normally are used in much larger trucks. EC3, those are used, those are the old Spectrum, Horizon Hobby. Nobody probably will use those in the microcrawlers. And a TRX-4M battery plug. What's missing is a red JST plug. Those ones, and that's a bit strange because you can use this ESC and the motor combo with 2 and 3S lipos, and red JST are probably the most common battery plugs for this. If you want to use JST-PH, SCX24, that's only 2S, and the large plugs, I guess no one will use, at least in the TRX-4M or SCX24, DINs or EC3. And if you only want to go with 2S, you can of course use the adapter for the TRX-4M plug. Traxxas always special. But check this out. What a wire mess. And in this video I want to change this. I will open the ESC and solder different wires to the ESC. Of course you could simply cut the wires and crimp different plugs to the wires. Different servo plug, it's super long. It will be difficult with this on-off switch, but let's see how to do this. But first I will check and test it in my TRX-4M. This guy does actually have the Surpass Gecko motor, brushless, sensored and ESC, and as you saw in my video I'm not super happy with this, so I will change the large motor, in-runner and the ESC, and we'll try this new awesome, hopefully awesome Injora combo. First let's simply test if it works without changing any wires and plugs. Should be super simple. Motor, wire to channel 2, and now I use the adapter for the TRX-4M battery. And let's, that's super complicated. Yes. MT12, not the most convenient radio. And here we have a switch, on-off switch. I would prefer not to have one, to do this only by plugging, unplugging the battery. Should be ready to go. Let's see. Yes. Seems to be really smooth. Not... Well, we will see in the truck. It works, and so I will mount it, but Injora tells not to use different motors than this purple Viper with this ESC. I honestly don't really believe. Why shouldn't any other brushless motor work? Don't have so many with JST PH plugs. That's the Mofo RC. The, what was the name? Yeah, the brushless outrunner, the same as the Micro Komodo Venom from Size. Oh, similar. So let's check if this one works. I didn't switch it off. Let's switch it off and switch it on for calibration. Okay, does it work? Not yet. Okay. Now everything. Yes. It runs. No problem. Mofo RC outrunner. Then probably I don't have a Venom. I have a Micro Komodo here still. If the Mofo works, this means probably the Micro Komodo will work too. Anyway, probably should adjust the settings. Therefore you get also a program adapter. You have to do this on your computer. I won't do this in the video, but let's test. I found the very first one, the Komodo, the large one, with by far best set off slow crawl abilities, but no punch. And it works too. Check it out. Super smooth. So the ESC should be awesome and work with probably most, at least outrunner motors. Those inrunners here, I don't have inrunners with those JST PH plugs. Very promising, super cool. Does not only work with the Injora motor. If they will sell this ESC, and if it works, we will see. Let's first try it. So this big mess, it can be placed easily here, but I really do not like this large wire mess. And I think it's quite funny, people spend a lot of money to tune their microcrawlers, but one of the most important things for tuning is lightweight, at least above the axles. So those wires are super heavy, and I will cut, remove, solder. We will see, different to the ESC, but I want to know how heavy this is now. And it's a little bit more than 21 grams, 21.11 grams now, including the adapter, the Traxxas TRX-4M adapter, but yeah, maybe JST PH is a little bit lighter. 21.1 grams. We have to think what plugs to use, and since we can use 2 and 3S LiPos, I think it would be nice, yeah, to use the red JST plugs, those ones. And that's super easy to crimp. That's 20 gauge wire, not super flexible. Could simply cut it and crimp those connectors to the wires and use this plug, or solder a shorter wire to the ESC, because not sure if we really will need the case. It's heavy too, and in the servo wire and plug it's the same. It's quite okay. It's flexible, so it's not a bad wire, but way too long, so I could simply cut it, crimp new contacts and make a new plug, or cut it and solder it to the ESC. And most difficult is this 4 wire cutting and soldering it together shorter. That's not an elegant way. I will not do it. I will try, of course, to open the ESC and to unsolder, and maybe not to use the case, and maybe to open the on-off switch and remove the wire here. But guess it's easier to do it on the ESC side if Injora did not glue those. But let's check it. I have 3S with red GST and 2S with red GST. So that's for sure the way I want to go, and probably if you want to use 3S you should go this red GST plug way too. Tons of batteries available, tiny ones with 2 and 3S. Let's first check the on-off switch. It does have 2 screws here, 1.3mm hex needed. Come on. And here it is inside. There seems to be a cotton tape on the tip switches to change the voltage of the BSC from 6 to 7.4, I guess. I will not change it now. Here it's in the manual. You can change from 6 to 7.4, so high voltage, quite nice. And here's the switch, the board. And this seems to be glued. What's not good if they glue it? Get out. Don't want to break it. You hear the fan maybe? I'm charging the 3S LiPo. Okay. But no need to open it or to break it. Here's a little rubber. So let's assemble the on-off switch again. It would be really nice if Injora would move those possibilities to change the voltage of the BSC to the ESC, and then you could remove the on-off switch and simply shortcut the wires and plug or switch on your truck and off only by plugging on off the battery. That's my favorite way. Here we do have, hopefully it's not glued, those clamps, and come on, probably could break those. Come on, it's easy. It's okay. I broke one of those, but that's not important at all because we don't need it. A drop of glue would do it. That's metal. That's plastic. And now we have the ESC here, and it seems to be glued. Oh, here's a little bit. That's only conformal coated, don't know. Let's break it, come on. Ugh. Wow, it's getting out. It seems to be a bit glued, but not super heavy. It's much more difficult, for example, in the Hobbywing 1080. That's horrible, but it seems to be. Yeah. Wow, check it out, only a little bit of glue. Here it is, the ESC, only the board, and here are the MOSFETs. Yeah, this case is not necessary. It's even, this is glue or conformal coating? Conformal coating, that's conformal coating, so probably waterproof. And here we have soldering pads, and this should be an easy soldering job. Check it out. No problem. I will answer what's no condensate. No problem. But what's important? Probably take a picture first to know how to solder those wires to the ESC after removing them again. But before I start cutting and soldering and maybe crimping, I have to think about where to place the ESC and how long the wires have to be. I found that that's the original place of the receiver ESC unit of the TRX-4M. Of course, I do not want to have it here, but if you do it that way, you will be probably happy with the long wires. But I will place it here, where I do have the Surpass Gecko sensored brushless ESC now. This should work. Probably, yes. Worst case, I would have to remove this JST PH plug and solder it in upwards direction. And for the battery wire, I will not use the TRX-4M battery then, but probably will be good with about that length. And the servo wire to the receiver, my receiver is here. It's only a little bit too long. If it sits here, well, probably there is no need of shortening the servo wire or the wire to the receiver, but I will do it. It's quite okay, this cable, so maybe I will only unsolder the battery wires and the on-off switch wires and crimp a new plug to the short servo wire. Should be that way. Come on. Yeah, so a little bit of crimping and a little bit of soldering that you see everything. I love both. Check. Think that's okay. If not, I have bad luck. Then I would have, no, it's by far long enough. And I will crimp a new plug, super thin wire, maybe 26. It seems even thinner for a 3 amp BSC. Well, and where to place this on off switch? It's huge. It's huge. I could place it here to get to it from outside, but I don't like it. I think I will simply place it on top of the ESC because it's easy to take off the body of the TRX-4M. Anyway, it falls off all the time. That's a problem in mine. So if we could take off the plastic case, maybe destroy the switch, probably not, but no, I will leave the plastic case and intend to do it. I will use shrink tube, of course, I won't use the case, and place the on-off switch here, and there it should be easy to go. So let's not remove the servo wires. Let's remove only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wires. I start with 370 degree. Don't know if that's lead free probably or not, and if that's sufficient. Should be easy, but it's not that. Oh, easy. Come on. That's lead free solder. I increase temperature to only for unsoldering to 390 degree, of course, Celsius. Come on. Much easier. So not the servo wire, but those 4. Yeah, they used probably lead-free solder, so I will remove the solder now using soldering wick. So I clean the pads now, remove the solder, because if you want you could use the solder again, but it melted quite bad and I needed high temperature, so I removed it. I used soldering wick mainly, even the large one. You see how this looks. Come on. After work. And I use flux, this liquid flux, and I put the flux on the soldering wick and then simply press it and then use the soldering iron, the tip. By the way, I use the same, it's not hot anymore, only warm. I use a small chisel for all this work, so no need to change pointed, large chisel, whatever, if I like those most. And now it's clean. And after removing the solder, I used alcohol and a small brush to clean the pads because of the flux, which is quite aggressive. It was easy. Main problem here is this conformal coating or whatever, or glue or what this is. But as you can see, no problem. And now I will pre-tin the pads again, because this will make the soldering job much easier. But I will do this off camera again, because I really like to do all this work with a small loop. And it's with camera in front, that's not really possible. So all pads pre-tinned, easy job. Reduced temperature to 370 now, because of course I used leaded solders. Super difficult to get in Europe, but those tiny jobs are so much easier with leaded solder. Here you can only buy lead-free solder anymore. That's, yeah, it's okay for environmental reasons, but working is so much easier in my opinion with leaded solder. And so now let's think about the wires and crimp a servo plug to this end. So DuPont plug housing, servo plug, 3 connectors. Have to remove the insulation of the wires for crimping, and crimping those servo plugs is super easy. You can use any cheapo China crimping tool for this. That's the probably most easy crimping job out there. With the smaller connectors, the PH and all those ZH, GH in the models, it's much more difficult. So insulation removed, don't forget to twist a little bit, and now simply those 2 mount connectors, place it that way, but first place it in your crimping tool and then do it. It's a super easy job. I have to do it off camera. So super easy job, and now simply insert those to the housing. Red always in center, since those are JR style plugs and not Futaba style plugs. It's not really important which direction you use or do, if only red is in center position. Come on. Often better to do it to start all 3. So that's it. And we have the servo plug You see it's different, opposite direction, but not important. JR doesn't have a lip. The Futaba servo plugs do have a lip, and you can only insert them in one direction. Those JR styles you can insert in both directions. Easy job, do it. Crimping is cool. And now to the probably most difficult part, resoldering and cutting the on-off switch. I want to place it that way on top of the ESC, but take a picture to solder it in correct order. Therefore, because that's this order, black, red, white and yellow, I have to twist the cable. I don't like it, but there is no other way to do this than maybe to open this and unsolder it, but I won't. And therefore I will cut the wire now. How much do I need? About that size. I will cut it longer and remove the insulation for a quite long part. For pre-tinning it, this makes it easier. So I can cut it in front of camera. Let's cut it longer that way, and now I will remove the insulation. So cut the wire and removed quite a bit of insulation and separated the wires. Why did I do this? The problem soldering those servo wires is always the insulation will melt easily, and I will for sure have to pre-tin those. I found it's easier to make a quite long uninsulated part and started pre-tinning it in the center or top position and let the solder flow up to the insulation, and that way the insulation does not melt. So I will do this now and do it off camera, of course. So pre-tin those 4 wires now, and as you can see I started here and use the loop to see the solder flow to the insulation, and as soon as the insulation started to melt I stopped, and so I have those tips pre-tinned, and now I can cut the wires to the length I want for soldering. So don't need a lot, but it's even too much. This should be fine. And now we can do the soldering job. For soldering, where is it? I will do this off camera with loop again. I now will simply place the soldering tip to the pad, and when I see the solder melting, I put the wire inside only for a moment and remove soldering tip, and that way it should work without melting all those wires. So here it is, soldered. That's not the easiest job, I have to admit, but yeah, it worked nicely. I still stayed with my chisel tip. Forceps could help here. I did not have to use it, I placed it here. And what would help a lot in such locations where it's difficult to get with a straight soldering iron is an angled soldering tip. This one, I love it. I nearly changed, but I did not. So if you do those jobs more often, think of buying such an angled tip. That was not a cheap tip, but it helps a lot if you, because you do not want to touch the neighbors. So with such a tip, one of my best purchases ever for difficult soldering jobs. It's much easier with those. You can do it that way, that way, that way, that way. I did not change because I was too lazy to change the tip. And now let's put the battery wire to the ESC. I can do this with camera. That's a super easy job. I use the pre-assembled JST red plug. That's 22 gauge wire, and that's way sufficient. So wires don't have to be really long, batteries have wires, so I will cut it that way, a bit more. 22 gauge, easy job. By the way, this was 26 gauge. I guess 26 worked perfectly. 22, 22. Oh, not exact length on both sides, but not important at all. Soldering iron, pre-tin. Come on, why did I do this that long? Pre-tin the ends. Good. Good. Red is on the right side. Have clean always your soldering tip, and black on the left side, and simply do it, baby. Melt. No, come on. Good. What a lot of solder. Wow, that's too much solder. Remove a little bit. Come on. Is it nice and clean and shiny? Yes, it is. For in front of camera. So, it's done. And now let's test if I destroyed it or if it still works. So, the moment of truth. Will it still work? Did I destroy everything? I use the receiver of my TRX-4M. Switch on the nasty radio. CS. Yes. And I have now last check if I did plus minus correctly. Yes. This would destroy everything. Okay. Connect a 2S LiPo now. So, tiny switch, will you still work? Seems to be good. Seems to be good. Green light. Red light. I don't know. Yeah, now it's green. So, I did not destroy it. Okay, switch works. Battery off. And I will simply use shrink tube. I could use the case again, but I don't want to. So I will simply shrink tube it. Come on. Here's missing a little bit. We'll place this part here. Not important, to be honest, but let's do it. Now it's fine, and heat dissipation should work here too. All the LISCs, even in helicopters, didn't have cases. We will see. I don't think there will be any heat problem. And now I will have to mount the motor and remove the surplus stuff from the TRX-4M, and I will take out the gearbox and let's check how to mount the motor. So remove the gearbox and the surplus motor, and there's no in the manual they don't say nothing how to mount it, but of course it's not that difficult. Have to use this adapter plate with those tiny screws to mount the motor. You can mount the pinion afterwards, not now, and I'm not sure. I use a little bit of thread lock to mount the motor. Where is it? Here it is. First, and now we will have to mount the pinion. Probably to the end. Let's compare it with the, yes, for sure to the end, with the stock TRX-4M motor. Okay, and here you have a tiny grab screw, and they give you a tiny Allen wrench, 0.9 millimeters. I will of course not use. If you are an Orlando builder, you are used to this, and here pinion does not sit firmly. Here thread lock is essential. Okay, and not use too much force, and a little bit outside, and this should be fine compared to the stock motor. And now they give you, but probably the screws used should be fine here. Let's mount it with the wires upside. So this should be fine, and now I will assemble that truck again. So motor and gearbox mounted, runs super smooth. And now let's mount the ESC, but before, let's check the weight. How much did we or I save? Come on. 8 point something. 8.54 grams. 21.1 grams, 8.5 grams. So saved nearly 12.6 grams. That's quite a lot. It's now less than half of the weight it was before, 8.5 versus 21.1. And now I will mount the ESC that way with sticky tape and place the on-off plug with sticky tape. So ESC mounted, on-off switch on the top, outrunner motor, but no touching of any wire, servo wire. That's a light switch, and I used the 2S LiPo now, or placed the 2S LiPo now. So the moment of truth again.
CS. Switch warning.
Yes. Will it work? Seems to work. Come on. Okay. Motor reversed. Super slow, super nice. A little bit of whining. And a lot of punch. Okay, let's test a little bit. So reversed motor direction on this radio. Even that's not super easy. And let's check this out again. How awesome is this? Tiny little bit of whining. But check this out. That's absolutely fantastic. And it has punch too. Not most punch. I do run my TRX-4M with stock gears, not with crawler gears. I could go even slower, but I don't want to bore you. Check this out. How awesome! Wow, Injora, that's a super good job. What is this? Super, super, super cool. Injora, $55, and that's on 2S. Come on, Injora, how could you do this for $55? Unbelievable. Wow, wow. Let's try this. The steep side of the hill of branches. Come on. TRX-4M. Super slow. Check. Wow. I'm stunned. Check this out. Come on. You need speed? Do you need speed? Yes. Yeah, but I don't want to give you speed. How cool is this, guys? I guess I paid 55 euros. Injora. And they do the same for the TRX, no, for the SCX24. Is it smooth? Yeah, it's smooth. How awesome is this? Wow, wow, wow. That's really a super good job, Injora. And of course we should try to run it on 3S too, shouldn't we? Let's try. So 3S LiPo mounted. Still have this balance plug saver from my Haley times. Let's switch it on. And okay, now it's ready. That's 3S now. Check this out. It's as we were surprised by the first Fury Tech, but there is no jump. I can't see any jump here. It seems to be absolutely smooth. How fast is it on 3S? Now it's a bash. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's try with body. What's always a problem? Any one of you good idea how the body should stay on? Probably I have to put something in there because it falls off nearly every minute. So TRX-4M Injora Brushless ESC 3S. Body's off again. It's so annoying. How awesome is this? I really can only say wow. That's $55 including shipment I paid. The Fury Tech stuff that's for the SCX24. More than twice the price for us. And it's super smooth. most annoying part of the TRX-M for me is this. What a bummer. Wow, wow, wow. Thumbs up, Injora, thumbs up. Maybe you could do it even lighter, your ESC. Guess nobody really needs the large and heavy casing, and make shorter wires, and maybe do your BC output switches on the ESC and remove this on-off switch. Guys, that's absolutely awesome. No comparison to the, what did I have in before? Sorry, the censored Gecko system, which is, by the way, 100 also, but Hobby King had it on a big sale, so didn't pay 100 for it. This is... Let's stop. I don't know. This video probably again is long, but check this out. That's so cool. And no jump. For me it runs completely smooth. Wow! Awesome! I will be fan of brushless in my old days, but not fan of this mounting system. That's it for this video, guys. This system is awesome, and you can make it lighter and smaller, and probably some of you will do this. Probably many won't do it because it's so complicated. So I would tell Injora, please do it, or do a system without wires. It's an AM32 ESC, so you can program it with computer. I didn't do it in this video because I'm waiting for another new brushless system for microcrawlers, which was available on Banggood. It's already shipped, should arrive next days. And then when I will make a video about this new system, that's for the SCX24, I will probably also check the AM32 programming, but I wouldn't know what there is to program with this truck now, because this is awesome. Only this not. So again, thanks for watching. See you in the next video, guys. I'll be back.